Disney and Lucasfilm are currently working on 2 live-action TV series, as well as Episode 9 and the new Star Wars Trilogy by the creators of Game of Thrones, David Benioff and D.B. Weiss. This is Mike Zero. If you guys are new to the channel, do make sure to subscribe to see future Star Wars content. Now, one thing that we do know a lot of people are very interested in is, of course, the new trilogy, also known as the 4th Star Wars Trilogy by the creators of Game of Thrones, and what's actually coming our way that will expand off of Star Wars Episode 9 after that movie is all done and put in the past. Now, these past couple of weeks or so, we've been learning a whole lot more about the future of this franchise, and all thanks to Star Wars Newsnet, which, by the way, the full story can be found below in the description and in the comments. We learned a little bit more about the new trilogy and what's coming our way when it comes to some of the story details. Now, specifically, this is what Star Wars Newsnet had to say. Now, they approached about working on the next movie this autumn. It is not the Rian Johnson trilogy, it is the Game of Thrones guy's first movie, and it is set during the Old Republic as Disney wants to open up the Star Wars timeline and appeal to a more Game of Thrones style audience. This really seems so on the nose in terms of what fans have been wishing for from these guys, so I asked for clarity on what else he heard about the project. So the timeline is said to be hundreds of years prior to the events of the Skywalkers, so think Star Wars meets Lord of the Rings. I asked if there were any grasp on something tangible happening for this production yet, or if it was all strictly talk/discussion based, and according to them, the art departments are doing pre-production work as we speak. Filming starts in the fall, preliminary of course, and art departments are in design phases now, as the script is being finalized. That is all I know, but I am 95% confident that this is accurate. Now, that's what Star Wars Newsnet had to say about the new Star Wars trilogy, also known as the 4th trilogy by the creators of Game of Thrones. So, 2 big things here when it comes to story details about the first movie of the 4th trilogy is that, number 1, it's actually aimed to be the Old Republic, alright, and the other thing, of course, is that it's set hundreds of years before the events of the Skywalkers. So guys, we have a lot of potential coming from these movies. We do know that we will be learning more about them come, of course, Star Wars Celebration, which is on April 12th, and April 11th we will be learning a lot more about the future of the franchise when it comes to the movies and the TV series. Now, we do know that some filming is going to take place in, of course, the beginning of 2020. They're looking at the Czech Republic, they're looking at Germany as well. So it seems as though that some of the in-studio shots are actually going to start this fall, where the on-location shots are going to actually start in the beginning of 2020. So what's really exciting about all of this, guys, is that this is not only giving us more Jedi and Sith-related content, but this is giving us an entirely new timeline of course, the Star Wars franchise that a lot of fans have never seen before. Now, mind you, hardcore fans who are really into the video games and stuff like that are very familiar with the Old Republic. I myself included, I'm very familiar with that timeline. I love it. I think it's great, and it is a great fit for the creators of Game of Thrones. It's just basically Star Wars meets medieval times. It really is. And we heard about this before in the past, that they do plan on really using a lot of inspirational pieces from, of course, Lord of the Rings. So with that being said, alright, when we look at Episode 9, alright, we do know that Disney and Lucasfilm are using that as a course correction, and they're also going to be using Episode 9 as a way to tie into the new Star Wars trilogy. So the script is being finalized. We are getting closer to learning more about this trilogy. It seems as though that they are looking for a 2021 release. You know, if they're planning on doing in-studio shots for, of course, autumn of 2019, and on-location shots, as we have heard, alright, for, of course, 2020 in the very beginning. So with that being said, guys, I gotta say, I'm very happy as a Star Wars fan to learn more about the new trilogy when it comes to story details related to exactly what Disney and Lucasfilm are aiming to do. And you know what, guys? It makes a lot of sense. It really does. Could you imagine if they chose a new trilogy that has nothing to do with the Jedi or Sith or lightsabers of that matter, or anything related to the Force? I think it would really kind of lose their way of Star Wars. It really would, if they just stuck with something different that had nothing to do with the Force and lightsabers, Jedi and Sith. To me, that is the base of Star Wars. It really is. It's the foundation of the Star Wars franchise. I mean, let's face it. The Jedi, the Sith, the Force, lightsabers, stuff like that. Of course, it's not all what we need for a movie, but it's the general base, the general groundwork of a Star Wars movie, right? If you're doing something based on Jedi and Sith stuff. So, like I say, I think that the general rule here is that this trilogy is really going to be Jedi and Sith centered, while Rian Johnson's, as we have heard little to nothing about what's going on with that, it's probably just going to be something more around the lines of nothing based on Jedi or Sith. We do know that he himself is doing something based on a blank canvas. That is something that I personally am really not looking forward to seeing, but we'll have to wait and see. As far as these new movies, guys, the first movie is set to begin production not too far from now. I mean, if you think about it, we got less than a year until things are actually going to start for this movie, and they are doing all the concept art and storyboard descriptions as we speak right now. I'm sure that we're going to be learning more about that in the coming months. Anyways, guys, drop a comment below. Let me know what you think about all of this in the comments, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, do make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.